All right, we are recording.
We are recording. Welcome, you guys, to our brand new revamped AIM coaching program training, which is way overdue, and also a reports training on how to pull and save simple reports so you can identify really quickly people you need to be working with, people who are achieving different things that you want to recognize as a leader. So I'll first start off by saying that this program was created back in January of 2016, I believe, to help you guys coach and work with your up-and-coming leaders, your current leaders on the right things. And what I noticed that I was doing a lot of, and we'll get into this as we talk about just the why leadership is so important, and Justin will talk about the focus of the forums and how they're meant to be used, which is also really important, and we never talked about in the previous Guide to Growth AIM training in 2016. But the point of doing a coaching call or a one-on-one, or let's just say working intently and intentionally with your teams in your front line, is to help them reach their goals, to help them reach the right goals, to help them stay on track and to understand what they need to be doing. That is the point of doing a one-on-one, a coaching call, an intentional talk, whatever you want to call it. The point of what everything that we're going to dig into and show you is to make sure that you are asking people the correct things and that you know what to ask them. So you know why on the forums does it say X, Y, and Z. We're going to tell you why we have those questions. And Justin's also going to go over just in depth how to make the forms and the importance of making your own forms and efficiency. And something I've realized, can you stop doing that? Mm-hmm. It's making me really ADD. So the reason that we are doing this training, though, again, is because we realized that it used to be a 4-part training. And so it was 4 weeks. It was really, really long. And I myself, so I'm the one who coaches our team. Mm-hmm. Justin helps develop, like, if we need to do different things with the forms or in the reports, he does all that. But I am the one who is getting on the phone, FaceTiming. Many of you probably watching this now, many of you have probably done a coaching call with me. And so I've realized that there's just a lot of different things that I do now and things that I focus on. And, you know, we have a group of did we cross 7,000 yet? So
we did.
We have a group now of 7,000 of you guys. And, you know, you have to evolve. I've had to evolve. I can't say yes to every single person that I coach, right? I can't send an email out now and say, hey, who wants to work with me? Because honestly, it's a blessing, but it's also like I'm one person. So there's a lot of stuff that I do now that I didn't do then, because I never projected in a million years that we would go from a group of like 500 at the time, which was massive for us, yes, to 7,000, because you cannot do these long drawn out conversations with no focus, right? And so even before the forms were created, Justin would listen to me walk in the door after a 12-hour shift. I used to be a nurse. I retired it'll be 3 years in October. And I would get out of work, walk in the door on the phone. I would be on the phone for an hour where there was no real content being shared, right? So it's one thing to get on the phone, and we'll talk about this, and open it up and just make sure these people are doing well, but it shouldn't be longer than a couple minutes. And what I realized was I was talking about all the things except business related goals and tasks and things that they needed to be doing. And so I want you guys to understand that this training is going to be vital for you to understand how to work with your teams. One thing I've noticed the past 4 years is a lot of people are blindly coaching, meaning they're blindly working with their teams, but they're not absorbing any kind of training. And I truly feel like to my core that this is a training that cannot be skipped. This is a step that cannot be missed, because you need to look at what successful people are doing, right? And I'm not saying me and Justin are everything, but what I'm saying is we created these forms in Scentsy. We started these coaching forms. We started this program. And I think you guys can see the growth, right? Just from doing AIM in 2016 to go to a group of 500 to a group of 7,000 should show you guys that everything we're going to teach you tonight is replicatable. There's a purpose. There's a reason you need to make your own coaching forms, and you don't need to just like print them off and keep them in a binder. Those are things that are not replicatable. Now, in saying that, before Justin starts talking a little bit about leadership, you know, the biggest shift to me in leaders that are successful and leaders that struggle is you understanding what leadership is. Leadership is servanthood. Leadership is not about you. And leadership is not about taking shortcuts so you can act like you're working with your teams when you're really not. And I'm saying that because I used to do all those things. I thought I was working with my team members, right? I promoted a superstar director, but I really wasn't focusing on the right people. And when I promoted a superstar director, one struggle that I faced, and I didn't talk about this at all in the old coaching program, is I was so focused on those 4 directors, wanting it for them and focusing on them, that I wasn't pulling reports. I wasn't digging into people that were not just my front line, but my seconds and my thirds. And Justin will talk about that as well. But I wasn't identifying the right people. I was clinging to those 4 directors. And listen, when I say this, if that is you right now, you're digging yourself in a hole. You don't know when somebody's life is going to shatter into a million pieces, or Scentsy doesn't become a priority to them. And that happened whenever I was a superstar director. So I went a full year not being paid a title. And a lot of people don't realize that. I didn't get paid a title because I was trying to save directors instead of building new leaders, new growth. And so that really too is why in 2015, we started deciding, okay, we've got to dig in and really focus on building leaders, and building leaders who want it, not building people who don't want it, not dragging people in the sand who don't want to succeed, being intentional with our time. Because listen, whether you're a lead consultant or you're watching this and you're a superstar director, your time is valuable. And every single thing, I was just talking with one of my superstar directors about this 5 minutes ago, every time you say yes to every coaching, every person that wants to work with you, and you're not pulling reports and identifying your priorities of who you need to work with, you are saying no to your family, you're saying no to your personal business, you're saying no to yourself. And when it comes to this leg of leadership, it is so important that you guys understand that coaching, working one-on-one, doing these forms we're going to show you, it's critical that you start getting in a mindset of knowing how to focus on who you need to work with. And that's something that I didn't really dig into last time when I did the last program. I was at a different place in my life and a different place in my business. And now, you know, we have grown so many directors in just the past 2 months, guys. Are all groups, okay, and all 4 of our SSDs, including us, Katie, Chastity, and Ray Ray, they use the coaching forms. They coach their teams. We have had 66 directors promote in the past 2 months, and we have had 8 star directors. I guarantee you 95% of those directors and star directors were coaching and working with their downline. That is the key to where you're at right now, struggling maybe as a leader, or maybe you're a new leader. So if you're a new leader, I want to say you are in the right place. You are doing it the right way. You are not skipping steps. If you're that leader that skipped steps and you just started coaching and did not watch AIM, or you didn't understand how to coach, I want you to give yourself some grace and know that we're going to start over. It's going to be okay. Your team is going to be okay. You're going to step up and be the leader that you're called to be, so you can grow and your team can grow. Because when you focus on the team, right? When you focus on the people, the paycheck will come. My dad has always taught me that. Justin says something very similar, but my dad has always said, Chloe, focus on the people, not the paycheck. I've never focused on a paycheck. I never, ever have focused on a paycheck. And you can ask Justin that. That's why last night we had a training where Michelle Hall, for example, has that great Excel spreadsheet, right? I've never done that. I've never done that because for me, my mindset has always been, and I'm not saying that's great. If you want to know how you get paid, that is very important.
Yeah,
but and how much you get paid is important. But I'm saying I want you guys to understand that everything we're going to tell you is validated, and there are things that we're doing. You guys should know by now, anything that we train you guys are things that we are actively doing. And we're so passionate about developing leaders and helping you guys. So without further ado, Justin is going to get into his leadership tips for you guys, and we're going to get started.
So first and foremost, so back to 2015, this is the point where I actually started getting involved in Scentsy.
Yeah.
And the reason I started getting involved, so a lot of people don't realize this. So for the husbands that are involved in your wife's business right now, and you guys are becoming close together as one in this business and understanding and aligning yourself, that's going to catapult your business, and you guys are already on the right track. So hopefully what I'm sharing with you guys and what Chloe and I am sharing with you guys is things that you guys can focus on together as a couple that can help you guys catapult your business. Because I'm telling you right now, a house divided, your business is going to struggle and everything's going to struggle. Now, I'm not saying Chloe and I were divided. What I'm saying is I had my own career at that time where I was excelling very quickly, which is why I went to Chloe with how I trained. So at that point in my career, I was a bank manager, but I also had a responsibility for commercial lending. So I had 25 direct reports. So I had like 15 personal bankers. I had 2 assistant managers and like 22 tellers that I was directly responsible for on a daily basis. But my direct reports were like 15 to 20 people that directly reported to me that I had to touch once a month. So I had a strategy for how I coached. And in Scentsy, the struggle is everybody is their own boss. So you're not accountable to anybody but yourself. So in saying that, yes, leadership is hard. If it wasn't, everybody would do it. But in saying that, if you can't lead yourself, you really don't have the right to lead anyone else. And I say that with love because you have to get your personal business and what you want and your vision for this business in line, because if not, you're going to lead people blindly and you're just setting up a massive struggle that's going to go down and go down, and then you're going to get offended because then they're going to reach up to your upline and above you because they want help and they're hungry. So what I'm saying is, if you're in a place in your business right now where you are at a point where you're a leader, you have a leadership title, but you know that you have not been doing the right things, it's okay if you failed. It is okay if you failed. That doesn't mean you have to quit. You can dream again, you can get your vision realigned, and you can rebuild and build something stronger than you ever have before. So don't feel like because you don't have any type of relationship with your downline, if you're in that leadership position. That's the one thing that frustrates me, because it's something Chloe and I dealt with in 2015. We lost a couple of directors. Chloe wasn't getting paid a title. Some people were not talking to Chloe no more because we were just all over the place. And that's when I wanted to get involved, because what my passion is efficiency and making money, but not putting as many hours into it. That's what I've always been good at doing. That's why I excelled in banking. And that's just what my passion is, actually coaching people and bringing the best out of somebody, because that's what leadership is. So I wrote down some points as far as from a leadership one-on-one standpoint, but back in 2015, that's when I told Chloe a strategy that I use in banking, which is called coach the coach. And the reason why I talked about coach the coach is because you're training other leaders how to coach. And you're all leaders when you, even an essential consultant, you're your own boss. So you're all leaders at that point. You're just you're leading yourself at that point and figuring out your way in Scentsy. So at 2015, I was like, okay, we have to get something in place for it. So I showed her a coaching form that I use for my bankers.
And can I stop you real quick? Go ahead. And this was the position I was in, because I feel like a lot of you are in this position, or what's happening right now is you have people under you that are very successful and you haven't been coaching them, and we've been in a really bomb past 2 months. And so what's happening is, again, your personal business has taken a back burner because you haven't been using the 3 legs of success, which I'm sure Justin will bring up, and you're focusing on the wrong things. So you've got to start with yourself. And with me, I was very focused on my personal business. I was really good at that. But when it came to me leading people, I wanted to save everybody. Yep. Everybody was going to be saved by me. Everybody was going to do well no matter what. Everybody was going to succeed. Listen, if they don't want it, you need to stop wasting your time. And I know it's a hard pill to swallow, and I know some people on here probably won't want to hear this. but you have got to stop working with dead weight.
Yeah.
You have got to stop trying to save people that don't want to be saved. Because when you try and save people that don't want to be saved, and you don't get in the habit of understanding, look, I love all my people, but this is also a business, right? So I didn't have that mindset. It was, I wore my heart literally on my sleeves.
Yeah, there were so
when
many
it
nights,
came
Chloe,
to my leaders.
I mean, y'all don't realize this, and y'all probably never seen her cry, but like the reason why I honestly got involved is because she was missing time with our son.
Yeah.
I was doing everything with our son at that point in time. I worked a stable job. She was working too. So it was just at the point in our life where I just sat Chloe down. I said, I really want to get involved and help, because I wasn't. I signed her up, and then I just let her run the business because I didn't think about it. So I started sharing. It was like right at the time where I first read the book, The Energy Bus, which changed my life. And then that's when I started doing the coaching calls.
And if you look at videos back of me on YouTube in 2014, I was not okay. I was sick. I was very underweight. I was very stressed. And I'm saying that because this system that we're going to go over for you guys, this is a system. Please do not skip it. Make it your own. But coaching calls are coaching calls.
Yeah.
Coaching calls are coaching calls. And it is you as the leader helping other people under you lead and rise up to meet the level of their goals. Coaching calls is not, we're going to actually go over what it's not and what it is.
Yeah.
But a coaching call is not
a kumbaya section.
It's not a kumbaya. It's not recognizing somebody through a voice text. It's not, coaching calls are an intentional focus to try and help these people, whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes, getting on the phone with them to help them reach their goals. It is an intentional time mapped out for their business and for you to help them. And so I didn't do that for a long time. I would be on the phone, like Justin said, walking in the door 8:30 at night. And I knew, and I'm so glad that we started these coaching calls 4 years ago, because I would have quit a long time ago. I would have gotten so incredibly overwhelmed.
There was no rhyme or reason to what was happening, which I knew that, and we just got done with a marriage conference at the time where it's like, you all can complement each other. And I was like, okay, I know what I'm good at. And Chloe obviously is not good what I'm good at. And I'm obviously not good what she's good at, which is why, honestly, I feel like our business has been successful. And we've been able to do a lot of the things we've been able to do with this business because we complement each other. And we know that she stays in her lane, I stay in my lane, and I just help out when I can. So in 2015, that's when I set her down. I showed her all of these coaching forms and everything that I was using at my job. And I was not to toot my own horn, but I was the youngest branch manager that Wells Fargo had at the time on the East Coast. And I was at the largest store and had the most volume.
So walk them through what coaching forms actually are and why you use them.
So what coaching forms are, and this is the third topic we're going to get into, but I'll share it now from a leadership perspective, because if you're not at the level where you need to use a coaching form, and this is where I probably need to talk about the 3 legs first before I say what the coaching forms are. So the 3 legs of the stool, the 3 legs of success, and self-care is in there as the most important, which is the seat. Self-care is the seat, but then the 3 legs that hold up the self-care is PRV. Number 1, you have to start with PRV. That's why PRV is the first leg, because it's the most important. The second most important is recruiting. Now, what builds wealth is coaching, mentoring, and leading. And Chloe, I think, is going to share our screen right now, and I'll talk about this a little bit because I'll be able to talk about the coaching forms. So this is the 3 legs that I created because there was just so much stuff out there from Scentsy, from the 6 success selling, and that's all great stuff. But the way my mind works is I try to just be simple. The way you get paid and the way you make money with Scentsy is based off these 3 things right here. Okay, the self-care obviously is something you have to take care of yourself so you can do the 3 things, but the 3 legs, that's how you make money with Scentsy. It's that easy. Sales, sponsoring, and coaching. Now, coaching is this, and this is something that I think Chloe wants me to hit on. My coaching calls were strategic when I was in banking. It was to either A, create self-awareness, to create behavior change, or to coach them out. That was it. So it was to create behavior change, bring the best out of somebody, and to also focus on what activities they were doing, because I was a firm believer in a formula called A times E equals R. What that means is your activities times effectiveness gets you the results you want. So whenever I was doing coaching calls, The questions that are being asked, which you'll see on the forms, always deal with activities that's very high activity driven. The reason why it's important to know what activities you're doing is so the coach, whoever is coaching you, can coach on the E, the effectiveness, how effective with you are. So for PRV, whatever the system you're using for PRV, as a coach, you want to identify if what they are doing with that PRV activity is effective, because if it was effective, it will be giving them the results that they want to achieve. So as a leader, you have to know their goals, which is why the forms ask the questions that they do. But what a coaching form is not a pity party. It's not, oh, you're going to do better, because in reality, a majority of people are going to change behaviors and do better from self-awareness and realizing that they are not doing the activities and they're not being effective, even though they know how to do it. It's a skill versus will.
Before you talk about it, do you want to say anything else about the 3 legs?
I'm going to get into the 3 legs a little bit more when we actually start going into the reporting and why it's important, because the way I filter our reports are based off on the 3 legs. So I was going to start about that. Yeah, you can stop sharing it now. And we can upload this on the YouTube channel through a Google link if I need to, like a Google form.
Yeah, we'll have this in a Google Drive when this is on YouTube, but this also should definitely be on your director's team pages. And if it's not, it needs to be. So, honestly, be accountable for yourself. When we post this and post the link, print it off. Like put it in your planner. I train when I coach now, and my people know this. I coach very different than the way I used to. I go off the 3 legs.
It's simple.
So if they're not strong, if it's a leader, I don't care if it's a director, and they want to talk about all the team things, but their PRV is low, we're not going to talk about the team things. We're going to talk about their personal business and what system they're using to track their sales and to give excellent customer service and to grow their network. Same with the next leg. So with the recruiting, we're not going to talk about recruiting if their sales are not where they need to be, because what happens when you skip steps, and this is happening right now. So I want to explain this to you guys. When you skip steps, you struggle when you promote. There are many people promoting right now with very, very low active frontline. There are superstar consultants promoting and directors promoting with 4 active frontline. You will not sustain that.
No.
And the reason that's happening is because the recruiting leg was skipped by you, and it's okay. It's because you didn't know and realize that growing your active frontline will always be the most important thing. And you guys, a lot of you saw, if you're on Anchored In, we reached 100 active frontline yesterday.
Crazy.
That's huge for me. I've been working on that for 8 years. So when I share with you guys, grow your active frontline, which is going to happen when you're working with them the right way, and you're setting the expectation, and you're literally identifying out of your frontline who's a priority to work with first, then you're going to be able to really build a massive business. But we've got to stop skipping steps. I cannot reiterate it enough. And, I get it. I skipped the leadership step and I was just doing crazy stuff. And I should have sat down with Justin and said, okay, what do you do at work? But I didn't do that. And I'm saying that because I want you to know I've been there. And if you are that person right now and you're a leader, or say you're certified and you're not a lead yet, I want to really encourage you to become a master in PRV. I want it rolling and flowing like a well-oiled machine, which is what I tell my leaders. Your 2,000 PRV a month, if you want to be a leader, 2,000 a month, sponsoring no less than 2 a month. The slower you do both of those things, the slower you'll grow, or you'll get a rock star under you. And because you don't have strong PRV and strong active frontline, you will struggle when you want to promote. Or you will struggle because they could out promote you and then you don't get paid off of them. And that is why it is so important that you don't skip steps.
Yeah, and it's understanding where you're at too, and understanding the commission and understanding everything, because you have to work your business different in each level you're at.
Yes.
And look, even when you get to director, you still don't get paid off directors under you. You still only get paid off of your TWV. And that, I think, is what a lot of people get. Or you may get paid off the first.
Say, that's not true.
Sorry, I was thinking of SSC. So as a director, you get paid off first gen.
Yeah.
However, there needs to be a shift at that point. Really, at SSC, your mind needs to start shifting on how you start working with people under you. So, but like I said, my whole thing on why coaching forms and why it's so important is because of those three things. You either have to coach people up, coach them out, or you have to identify that they have the skill in order to do it. They're just missing the effectiveness from the formula, or it's a will issue. And then that's an energy vampire. And you need to just love them, give them the resources they need to be successful, but take the positive energy to somebody that actually is going to reach up and climb up. That's just it's that simple. I know it can sound like it's complicated, but it's that simple. Coaching forms are not meant to coach everybody either.
No.
That's the thing. When I'm talking about coaching everyone, that's not what coaching forms. There is no physical time in the day for you to do it, because you still have, even as a superstar director, nothing changes. We're still essential consultants or certified consultants, at day one of the month. So our first week, we don't do coaching calls. We focus on PRV. We focus on making sure that we start focusing on PRV for the next month, literally at the beginning of this past week.
Yeah.
We have to make sure our month is front loaded. That way, for the second and third months, we can focus on what actually builds wealth in the company, which is actually drilling down as an SSD, 3 generations down, and making sure that their TAWV is good, making sure that the directors over them have the tools they need. And that's the way the mind needs to start shifting. But at the end of the day, PRV for an SSD is still just important as it is for an EC. That's the reality of this business, which is why I love Scentsy, because
you have to work. If you want to get
the
paid,
more
you have to work.
But the more you work, the more your paycheck is.
Yeah.
So it's great that Scentsy does that they don't create, because what will end up happening is, if they did it the way a lot of other direct sales companies do it, if we just get all these people working under us, but we just sit back, it creates a lazy culture, which is not something that we want to do. We want people under us to see that we are working just as hard on the front line with them as everybody else is. And so I'm going to share a couple more points that I wrote down for you guys to self-assess on. Go back and watch these, because I'm going to go through these points quickly, but it's just things as I have grown in leadership. And I started at leadership probably at way too young of an age. They shouldn't have put me as a branch manager at 21, because I was very immature at 21. Anybody who was 21 in here knows that. And if you knew me in my past, you knew who I was at 21. Because I know a lot of people on here may know the type of person I was at 21, but I was a branch manager and was responsible for putting food on the table for a bunch of people in the bank. So these are things that I learned all along the way from a bunch of different mentors that I've had in my life.
And make sure too that you walk them through, like when you would sit somebody down and you would talk with them about
the coaching call section, I'll do that.
What you would do.
I would do that. So here's some bullet points for leaderships for you guys to know that, how you know that you're a good leader, and how you know if you're a bad leader, and what you need to do. And like I said this quote before, and this is something that I just jotted down. This is just brain dumping for me. You can't fail if you don't quit. You have the right to continue to push forward, create new goals, and dream again. Okay? So if you're at that place in your business right now where you feel like you have not been a good leader, it's okay. Dream again, create a new vision, create strong downline, start recruiting, focusing on the 3 legs, start your business all over again. Start it over, create new systems. It's okay. And that's my next point. I have this on here, but I say all right, so here's another good point. People mistake being a great leader is knowing all the right answers, but in reality, being a great leader means asking the right questions. And that speaks volumes to me, because it's something that I have always done. And Chloe picks on me all the time because I'm always reading articles. I'm always looking stuff up. She's always like, Justin, why are you on your phone reading stuff? I send her articles every day of stuff that I read that I feel like she'll do, even though I know she doesn't read articles. But that's just, I'm always asking questions just to try to figure out a way to help out our personal life. All right. Now, this is huge from creating a culture. So now I'm talking about culture with this next statement. So people don't care who the leader is, as long as they can trust them. Leadership is about building trust. And you want to know how you build trust? I'm about to tell you. Be consistent, be stable, communicate often and well, and admit you won't be perfect, and operate in humility and authenticity. That is so important. The reason why operating in humility and authenticity is so important is because people connect more with real than fake. And I hate to tell you right now, we live in a fake social media society where people mistake famous and influence as the same thing, and it's not. Fame and influence is completely different. Fame is self-absorbing. Influence is actually caring more about the people under you and bringing them up higher than you ever were. I hope people hit circle of excellence before us. I hope that. I hope people do that, because what we do here is what we want to change everybody's lives under us. So I'll just leave it at that from a standpoint of, if you want to be a leader and you want people to actually view you as a leader, it's those things. It's be consistent, be stable, communicate often and well. Don't go silent.
Yeah, clearly communicating. And that
Yes.
was something I used to be. I see one of my first directors, Heather Bullock, is on here right now. I was not good at these things, okay? And so that is why Justin is really hitting on that being the first thing. They have to trust you.
Yes.
You have to build a relationship with them. You have to say the hard things, even if it hurts. But if they trust you, they will listen. I promise you. They may not listen right then, but if they trust you, it may sting, but then they'll be okay, because they know that you're saying it because you love them. And that has always been, you, if you guys don't know this, I love my leaders hard. Like, I get very attached, which Justin can't stand sometimes, but it's just because
it's not that I don't.
I care about them.
You just wear your heart on your sleeve.
More than just Scentsy, I care about them as human beings.
And people always confuse somebody being emotional and somebody actually caring and passion. Emotional and passion always gets confused.
Yeah.
And, I'll toot Chloe's horn. Chloe's one of the most passionate people I know to a fault.
And I feel like sometimes when I train and I hear...
Because people think that Chloe is actually arguing and talking down but in the inside, Chloe truly cares about bringing the best out of somebody, because at the end of the day, some of the people Chloe coaches, we don't even get paid off of. We don't. We don't get paid off of them. Just to be straightforward, we don't. We get paid off TWV for our directors in our front line. So if you're not a director that's in our third generation,
first, second, or third,
and if you're an SSC that's not our front line, we don't make any money off of you guys.
And that's where people, I think, get very confused and
say,
you get paid off of me. No, I do not.
Yeah,
I do not.
We get paid off TWV off first and third generations as a superstar director, and our front line, and that's it. So what I'm telling you guys is, to be a good leader is those things. I'll repeat them one more time, and then I'll go on how to lose your following. But this is how to gain a following. You be consistent, be stable, communicate often and well, which is why team pages are very important, which is why Chloe and I always preach, be active on the team pages. You'll hear, and that's the reason why we say that. And then finally, admit. So tell people that you're not perfect and operate in humility and authenticity. You do those things, you are going to gain a following. I don't care if you don't know anybody. If you do those and stay consistent with it, you are going to start to gain a following. Now, how to lose your following as a leader. Inauthenticity, fake, flakiness and inconsistency, overly tired and not taking care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, listen to this. If you're watching somebody that says they're a leader, but they look like they haven't showered in 3 days, they look like they haven't taken care of themselves, but they're claiming to be successful, but then you look at them and you're like, do I want to be that? That looks very stressful.
This was me for the first 4 years of my business. No big deal.
But that's why I'm saying that. If you are a type of person that just seems scattered, or that you don't have it together, that you're overly tired, that you always seem stressed, you're going to start to lose your following. So if you're at that point where maybe you lost your following and you were inconsistent, start now being consistent. Start being real. Listen, a lot of people, a lot of the people that may be on this team that I don't like to classify as millennials, but what I'll say is a lot of these people grew up in a social media society. So a lot of people may not have an identity or know what they want because they've always been looking and comparing themselves to everybody else. So there's not a lot of thought process on what they actually want and how to create a vision. Self-assess and really start thinking about yourself, what you want out of life. It may not be Scentsy. It may be something else. That's what you have to start doing. So that's where I would start. If you're at a position where you feel like you have failed or lost, or you're starting to get a following, vision is the number one thing because that's what's going to keep you consistent is vision. That's going to keep you driving is what your vision and what you want, what your goals are. That is what's going to be it. So you have to start there with your vision. The one thing that gets me hype about Chloe is every day, you know what Chloe does first thing? She rides her Peloton, but do you want to know what's right in front of her Peloton bike? Her vision board. Look, she has a vision board for our family before I do. Mine's in my mind, but she has it to where she looks down at it every day. So if you don't have that drive every day, because trust me, there are mornings where Chloe doesn't want to get out of bed. The reason why I know that is because I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and Chloe's still asleep and I have to get her up. But she has that. And as soon as she gets on that Peloton and sees that vision board, her mindset shifts. Like we are almost fist fighting first thing in the morning. But then she gets on that bike, sees her vision board, and then it's just the best day ever. So you have to have something worth working for. And if your vision is not scary and is not challenging you, and it's just something comfortable.
And if it's not clear. So for example, like one of the things, I'll share my vision board on Anchored In and on the director page. But you know, my vision for our family this year is massively huge. And you know, at the beginning of this year, I'll say this too, we had a group of 3,000 in January, and I made my vision board, and I said to Justin, I said, I'm going to put on this vision board 10,000 group members by December. I said, I know it sounds crazy. I said, I know, and this is before any of this crazy, amazing explosion happened with y'all luckily being at home, right? So you had more time to absorb your business and you had time to actually sit and work. And that's why y'all are also seeing success, because you're implementing what you're learning now. But we're at 7,000 people now. Vision is so important. When I work out, I have to make them bigger because my vision board is too far now for where my Peloton is. So I'm going to do that actually tonight. But I read them out loud to myself and read them over and over and over, because I need those big goals so I can see the big picture and I can look past just a title. It's not about us being superstar directors. For me, it's about, I can't even talk about it, but like, it's about changing like our parents' futures and retiring them. And that sounds so
changing
crazy, right? But like, yeah, for sure. But I'm saying for us, like, it's so much bigger than I just want to sit and be a superstar director. That's never been anything I've ever cared about. Not that it's not important. It's a huge title. Any title you promote to in leadership is important. But what I want you to understand is the title's not going to make you get out of bed every day.
No.
A promotion is not going to make you get out of bed every day. What's going to make you get out of bed is knowing what you're doing for those little ones you have at home, and what you're doing for like his dad can't retire ever. He won't be able to retire, but we're going to make him retire because of Scentsy. It's about setting goals bigger than yourself. And I think that that's really hard for a lot of people to do, but I want you to know what you speak and what you see.
Your words are powerful.
Will circle around the universe. All right. So.
And I've already said this. So the last thing that I want to say from a leader before we start talking about the actual meat of everything, which is the reports, is, and I already said it, it's just, you want to be influential, not famous. And I think there are so many people, I'm not saying names, I'm not going to do it because I believe in positive energy and I believe everybody has a story to share. So
well, we don't even have any names to say.
There's not any names to say, but what I'm saying is there is a lot of people that, you know, I'm just going to say it like this. Just strive to be influential and not famous.
Stay in your lane.
If you are focused on growing a following on social media, you are doing it wrong.
Yep.
And I'm telling you guys this because
you need to focus on impacting your community.
I run a marketing company. And the number one thing that makes me more upset than anything is when a client comes to me and tells me they want to grow a following. All right. So, and this is cool because I'm going to talk about this in coaching form. So the question I asked, I said, tell me, why do you want to grow a following? Why do you want to grow a following? And they're like, well, because I can do this and I can do this. I can put links, you can swipe up and all that stuff. I said, but is that putting money in your bank? Well, no, it's just growing my social media. Social media following for a business's mindset in general, a business, the number one mindset is cash flow. Okay. Cash flow means, and for those who don't understand cash flow, it's just money coming in. All right. So you're a business owner as a Scentsy consultant. Okay. Your number one mindset needs to be cash flow. All right. So social media is just an engine for you to share your product. So if you have a social media page and you're wanting to grow a following, you already have the wrong mindset. Okay. And I had to explain this on one call the other night because, or a couple months ago when somebody was talking about, nobody's engaging in my posts. It doesn't matter. People are still seeing what you're doing. And if you stay consistent with it,
it'll grow.
It doesn't matter if you get 1 like, no like, 0 comments. It doesn't matter at all. You stay consistent. Post the same thing every Wednesday. Post the same thing every Tuesday. Make your bed and spray Scentsy fresh every morning. I'm telling you guys
I did that whenever, just because it was a part of who I was.
But, and it wasn't anything we did. It was literally, you share your life. I don't care how messy you think your life is. I don't care how you feel like you don't have it together. I don't care what your business sells. I don't care what your business does. And there probably is some people on here that I talk to through my marketing business that may be on this call right now. But what I'm telling you is, mine and my business partner mindset, we're on the same level as far as how we think is, you focus on taking care of the most important thing for a business, which you guys don't have to worry about, is your internal customers, which is your employees, making sure that they're happy and they know the culture and they know the vision so that they can take care of the customers. That's what it is. And so that's what you guys need to focus on. That's why PRV is the first tool. Social media needs to be for PRV first, okay? Recruiting can come second. Leadership comes third off of it, because then people down under you can see what you're doing so that they can mold their own story with what they do. And they're like, okay, she's sharing that she's spraying the bed. Well, guess what? I spray my dogs first thing in the morning. So you spray your dogs. Like, you know what I mean? You have to figure out a way to mold your story so people can see that. So I'll just say that from a leadership perspective, but that's where you start. So I know I covered a lot there. You guys, we are going to post this recording for people who are worried about it. I know, because I talk fast.
It is going to be a little long. It's probably going to be a total of about 2 hours, but just know this is the whole, it's so glorious. This is the entire coaching program right here. It's just one video. And so it is going to be long,
but just think about that. And if you're confused as a leader on social media, I'll tell you this, and this is something I used to say to my bankers: you cannot sell something if you don't use it. All right. So if you are not, and look, you don't have to be a fan of everything Scentsy offers. Only share what you sell, only promote what you use in your house from a Scentsy standpoint. There is a full catalog that you can share with everything. But at the end of the day, if you don't use travel tins, don't post about travel tins.
I never post about travel tins.
And you never, because we don't have them. And I don't even think we've ever tried.
I have them now because I have a Facebook party wall. That's the first time I've
ever. But I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm saying. You have to be bought into what you're actually selling. Scentsy is a sales engine. You are a salesperson first. I hate to say that to you for those who are not into sales, but you are in sales first as a consultant. So sales is number one. That's what social media is for. It's not about how many followers you have. I'm telling you that right now. I know companies that have 500 followers. One of them is our client right now, and they do $500 million a year in revenue. $500 million a year in revenue, and they only have 500 followers on social media. But do you know what we have to explain to them? They come to us, hey, but we're not growing our following. But hey, your sales increased 25%, because it's all about awareness. Consumers, at the end of the day, when they're looking at you and they know that you're a business and you're selling something, a lot of them are not likely to comment on social media unless it's something negative. I mean, that's just the reality that we're in. I know if Ashley Moore is on here, I mean, she knows firsthand about that. Like, social media is a great tool. You have to have it. It's a necessary evil. At the end of the day, though, people are more engaging on social media when they want to be negative. So just think about that too, because I have to explain that to Chloe. Out of the 1 million people that we probably influence, you're only going to see the 10 negative people that are always trying to trash you. That's just the way it is. But from a leadership perspective, you don't let the energy vampires bring you down. You stay positive and you stay consistent and you stay bought into your vision, and you're going to grow more of a following than anything else. And that's something that I've learned through everything that I've done, because I used to be, I've always been pretty positive, but I used to let a lot of people take advantage of me. And I used to like not be confident who I am as a leader, because I always felt like the little young kid that I was a boss at 21 years old to like 40-year-olds, and they looked at me like I didn't know what I was talking
100%.
about.
So when I joined Scentsy, I'm 29 now. I was 22. I was very young. And I'm just going to say it like this because this is going to be on YouTube, but I was definitely taken by a joke, as a joke by a lot of people in Scentsy. And you know what? It just drove me even more, because I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to prove them all wrong. And I actually did a post about that today, which was extremely authentic, because that is my mindset. And I remember looking back, we used to share an Instagram back in 2012.
Good gosh, I need to go archive
my
those
first post on Instagram of Scentsy was the Scentsy box that had 1 like. It was my starter kit 1. And I just continued and continued to be consistent. And so I want you to know what you guys see when you look at people that are successful. You may see the success, but you don't see the 2 a.m.s. You don't see everything that
4 a.m.s.
Oh yeah, I mean, I still stay up late even to this day. I skipped lunch. Like, I'm really bad at taking care of myself still. So just know that, like, everything we're going to teach you guys tonight, going into the coaching forms right now.
No, we're going into the reports.
Or into the reports. This is, Justin's going to say in a second, why you need to pull reports and why it's so important. I want to say, if you are watching this and you're a brand new leader, don't get so consumed in, oh my gosh, saving all these things. We just want you prepared. So when you have a team of 25 people, okay, or when you have a team that's growing, that you quickly can access who you need to work with. You can quickly access who you need to really feed into, so you're not missing people. And I'm saying that because I miss so many of you guys every day, still to this day. I miss people all the time. But now that we're consistently pulling reports, and literally when I say consistently, I mean we pull them the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and then every day the last 10 days of the month. I have been able to work with more people. We have.
You've been able to see who to work with.
I've seen who to work with. Our newest directors, 2 of my newest directors, I started working with them 3 months ago because we identified them from pulling a report. Okay.
Katie and Ray, we had their SSD nows, but when we started pulling reports, we saw them.
I wasn't even pulling reports when I identified Katie last year. I was just double clicking like Queenie talked about last night in that training and looking at the PRV. So what I'm saying is, I want you to take everything we're about to train you on in understanding that it is critical for you to know how to do these things. It is not optional. And to me, leadership shouldn't be optional. We live in a world where there's a lot of optional leaders that lead when it's really good. And my concern with this group is there's a lot of people right now on fire because their teams are performing. But what are they going to do when they're in the valley? What are they going to do whenever it's a hard month? What are they going to do when it's not easy? What are you going to do when it's not easy? Because I've been trying to do coaching calls and have been doing them for 4 years. But this is the year that y'all started doing them. So what if I gave up 2 years ago and said, you know what, screw it, I'm not doing it. My directors won't do these coaching forums. We did the program. I had 2 directors do the program with us, 2, which is why I'll never do a program like this again just for directors, because you know who I want to learn, want to teach, who to coach these lead consultants, you guys. I want you guys who I want you guys who aren't being coached to know how to coach. I want the ones who are not getting what they need from their upline to get what they need from us.
Well, and hopefully their
now
upline
now you can hear, this is where my voice comes in, where I sound like I am some kind of way, but it's because I am so passionate about not missing all the people I've missed because I was focused on the wrong things. Leadership starts with one person on your team, not as a director. And too many people are promoting to SSC and they're promoting to director, and they are not focused on working with their team, which is why the active front line is so low. So in saying that, please open your ears to everything we're going to say. Watch this over and over again. Do whatever you need to do to understand everything to do with leading your teams the right way. The right thing is always right. The wrong thing is always wrong. Stop saying from this day on, we're not going to say anymore that we don't coach our teams. And if you are a leader right now and you don't want to work with your teams, I want to encourage you to reach up to your upline so you can take a non-leadership role. And I want to say that because not everybody wants to be a leader. And guess what? That is okay. If you don't want to be a leader and you sponsored 2 people, but those 2 people sponsored 12 people, right? Which is what happens sometimes. You may not want to be a leader. And so I just want to say, first, be honest with yourself, be real with yourself. Don't say you're not a failure if you want to take a non-leadership role, but it's so important that we figure these things out sooner than later so this team under you can be taken care of. And I say that out of love and respect and honesty, but I've never really addressed the non-leadership role thing until this year, and it's a problem. I should have been talking about it a long time ago. I don't want to force people to want to lead. I don't want to force people to want to do coaching calls. If you don't want to lead your team, if you don't think it's important, then be a certified consultant and make up to 30% commission. That's great, right? 30% is still great. But do not sit here and have a performing team and just sit back. That's not what we do. It's not what we do. And I'm not okay with that at all, because what happens is Chloe has to coach a lot of people in this group that should be coached by other people. And it takes away from my front line.
And we enjoy doing it.
No, of course we enjoy doing it. But what I'm saying is, I know if I taught this sooner, that leadership starts at lead consultant, coaching calls start at the lead consultant, pulling reports start as a lead consultant. There would be so many more people that I can't look back and say, oh, I failed. I can say, this is what I know now. And I'm telling you, I don't care if I step on toes anymore. Leading is not optional, period. If you want to be a leader, you serve your team and you serve them well. End of story.
And if you guys want to know, if you want to get a following, here's the things that I wrote down. And you may have your own other things, but these are things that I've done that have actually worked throughout my career to create a culture that's contagious, that people want to be a part of. And not just in everything that I do. So I have a waffle company, I do an eggnog pop-up, I do a snow cone pop-up, I have a marketing company, I have a real estate thing that I get involved with a little bit. But we have so many people that always want to work. It's because of the culture that we have. And this is what it is. We're consistent, we're stable, we communicate often and well, and we always admit that we're not going to be perfect, and we operate in humility and authenticity. And one other thing that I should have put on here that I didn't, but I'll say this right now as a bonus, is we let other people lead. We do that. Like right now, in all my companies that I have, like for instance, and I'm just going to give you an example, and this is something you guys can use. I take some people that want to be marketing managers that work as a line cook in Smash Waffles, and I let them take photos and post it on our social media page once a week. I let people that want to be chefs come up with Waffle of the Weeks. So what you want to do, if people want to be a director, let them take over your team page as a director. Let them start acting like a director so they can get comfortable in doing that. But as a leader, you have to identify that through coaching calls.
Well, and also what I'm going to say is there's also a lot of leaders within this group, and this is going to be obviously people watching this in the future. If you are a star consultant and I'll say star consultant with a team of 8 or 9, okay? When you're a star consultant with a team of 8 or 9, you need a team page. You need to start creating your culture. I was not taught that. I made a team page when I was a director, because I wanted my own culture. Do not crutch on your director's page. That is not leading. You can be on their page, you can do all the things, but guess what? You want to be a director? You need to authentically do things that directors do. And you need to get in position to create that culture that you want to have. And that doesn't mean that you have this battle with your director, right? That's not what we do either. But what I'm seeing is there's even SSCs within this group that are doing a messenger chat. And I'm not here to step on toes, but what I'm saying is that is not, what am I trying to say? Like that is not,
efficient.
It's not efficient. It's not efficient. And you're not gonna be able to share all the things in the messenger chat and stuff. So don't be that person that promotes to director and you don't even have a team culture and a team page. Don't be that person. No. That's not leading. Mm-mm. That's called you're always going to be scared. You're never going to be ready. Guys, I didn't have anybody mentor me. I didn't have anybody tell me what to do. So I know from experience what builds strong leaders, and what builds strong leaders is pushing you out of your comfort zone sooner than later. You'll never, ever, ever be ready. And the problem is a lot of people are promoting right now and you weren't doing the foundational things. Okay, which again, give yourself grace. We got to start over and just revamp. But because of that, you don't have that trust with your team. They don't even know really who you are because you haven't been building that culture on your team page. You haven't been individually texting your leaders that are under you and saying, oh my gosh, I love what was in your story. Post that on the team page. Or I love this, post it on the team page. That is how you're going to pull your leaders to lead. I do this with every leader that I have. And now if they're watching this, they're going to be like, oh, that's why you always tell me to post it on the team page. Absolutely. I want you to show that you have value to add into my world. I want you to see that you can do what we do in your way. That is called building a leader. And that is why I am so intentional and passionate and purposeful on doing these things sooner. So you get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You don't want to get comfortable with being uncomfortable when you're a director. It's too late, baby.
Yeah.
And
it's not too late, but you have to start over.
You have to start. You haven't even started.
True.
Start at a lead consultant. Start at a lead consultant.
What's that song about 3 Days Grace? It's never too late, but you have to start. You have to start or take a non-leadership role.
Or yes, please. No, in account services at Scentsy.com.
And this is not anything to try to take a paycheck or anything from anybody, but at the end of the day, you're not going to make money off of anybody that's going to out-promote you anyways.
I coach people all the time I don't make any money off of. So I want y'all to understand this.
It's not about that. It's
about being real and honest with yourself. And if you're not in the capacity to lead your team, which you have zero business sponsoring, if you're not going to train them, if you're not going to mentor them, if you're going to throw them on a team page and just expect for them to be, you know what I mean? Like trained off of a pinned post, that's not leadership. No. In any way, shape, or form.
And so just before we go into reports, so basically, in a nutshell, the whole first part of this video, which I thought was so important, is to give you guys the nuts and bolts on how you need to be as a leader.
And why.
And why. Now we can move on to reports. I will say this again, going back to the 3 legs of the stool. It doesn't matter what title you are. PRV is not optional. Recruiting is not optional. Because I will tell you this, if you stop PRV and you stop recruiting, even if you have 15 active frontline, that's going to dwindle down to 10. That's going to dwindle down to 8. Then it's going to dwindle down to 4. Then once you drop under 3, guess what? You're back at a certified consultant. So I'm saying that to say this. You can never stop. And this is the thing with Scentsy. So if this is something that doesn't interest you, this is why non-leadership roles is important. This is why everything else. If you are not passionate about sales and recruiting to change people's lives, and that needs to be a mind shift.
Not recruiting to earn an incentive.
No,
not recruiting
because you care passionately about Scentsy so much that you know that the person that you're trying to bring into this business is going to change their families and generations future because they're creating an entrepreneurship mindset in that household to say that I can do this. You may change a woman, and I'm saying woman because Scentsy is predominantly women, but you may change a woman's life that has never been confident in herself, and now she is confident and now can be a game changer as a woman to make their whole family's life better. You have to just change your perspective on life. If you feel that recruiting is stupid and you don't want to do it, just think of it as I have to recruit because I have to change somebody's life.
How about this? I get to.
I get to change somebody's life.
You get to change people's lives. You get to be a mentor. And look, I saw someone commented and said, I'm still trying to learn all the things. I'm not ready to coach. Listen, you're never going to be ready.
No, coaching is very uncomfortable. Still for me, I hate coaching people. But I love it because I know at the end of the day, it's going to make them better because it's going to create behaviors that get them the results they need to be successful.
And if you're sponsoring, you have to coach.
You have to.
There is no, I'm going to sponsor and I'm not going to coach them to success. There is no, I'm going to sponsor, but I'm not going to train them on Shooting Star and I'm not going to train them on Certified Guys. Today, it broke my heart. One of my frontline who joined a couple weeks ago was getting texts from somebody who joined in another group who isn't trained by her sponsor and wasn't given anything. And she's going to my new recruit, asking her what Shooting Star is, what Certified is, what Sensational Start is. That sponsor should be embarrassed. You should not be sponsoring if you are not going to adequately give people the training that they deserve.
The tools they need to be successful. That's what you have to do. The only requirement you have is you have a stewardship to your downline as a leader to give them the tools they need to be successful. At the end of the day, you can't save somebody's business. It's still up to them. Now, before we go into reporting, because I don't want this to be a 3-hour training, I want to try to get done still by 10 at least.
Yeah, we'll get done at
Eastern
10.
Standard Time.
Even 9:45, so we can have questions.
For sure. So what I want to say is this. From a leadership standpoint, I already went through everything on how you get a following and how you lose a following, and you can go back and watch, and I'll post those quotes too. But what I want to say is this: you have to have your vision and your culture established before you start trying to develop leaders under you. Now, you may get recruits, you may do this stuff, but that you have to still get PRV and recruiting, and you have to have a vision, and you have to have a goal set, and you have to have that for anybody you recruit. So what I'm going to say is this. Here is some other resources to be a good leader. I'm going to name you some books. Some of you guys may not like to read, but you can Google and get clip notes, okay? I'm going to just say 3 books that changed my perspective, okay? The first one, The Energy Bus. Everybody knows it. If you go to Amazon and just Google The Energy Bus, you can do it. Guys, they even have energy books for elementary kids. Energy Bus changed my life. Next one is Visioneering by Andy Stanley. Okay?
Is that not spelled?
Visioneering by Andy Stanley. If you are having trouble with creating vision, Visioneering by Andy Stanley is something that helped me get vision for my life. Last one, Love Does by Bob Goff. All right? This talks about it doesn't matter what the person does to you, what happens, you love them through it. You love them through it. That's the thing. You love everybody through it. You set boundaries to where they don't affect your life no more, but you love them. You intercede for them. You do whatever you can to make them a better person, okay? Those are the 3 books that I got involved with that changed my life and my perspective on everything.
And I am not a reader, but one book that I read that changed my entire business, I don't even know if Justin knows this. No. It's called Beach Money.
Yeah,
it's one of the quickest reads. You can read it in a couple hours. And that showed me life is so much bigger than me being in these walls at this hospital. Not that I was not grateful for going to one of the best nursing schools in the country. Not that I was proud of my degree, but that book showed me, you know what?
I'm a college dropout.
There is more to life.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if you're not a reader, read Beach Money. Read Beach Money, get it on audio. It's very old, but it's very basic and showing you how to dream. So those of you saying, I don't know how to vision, I don't know how to dream, I learned how to do that from Beach Money. I learned how to, and Beach Money literally means you're sitting on the beach and you're making money. And that's what happens when, not that you don't work, but when you create your business like a machine. So when you do that, you're going to see that everything will change.
So I'll say this too. So people get, and it was funny because I did a podcast today with my business partner, Hunter, and we were talking about, you know, nowadays entrepreneurship is the emo way of saying that you're unemployed because it's cool. But a true entrepreneurship, you know, the definition of entrepreneurship is being able to sleep and you're making money while you're sleeping. That's entrepreneurship, okay? Entrepreneurship is being able to walk away from something and you're still making money. That's what Warren Buffett preaches. That's what a lot of people preach. Now, I don't want to say Scentsy is not entrepreneurship because it is. It's developing that entrepreneur spirit. You're still a consultant and you personally still have to work. So don't get that confused. You can't walk away. So it's not that. But what Scentsy does for you is create the entrepreneur spirit in you to know how to start a business and how to make money. So what I'm saying is, yes, you guys are asterisk entrepreneurs because you're getting the entrepreneur spirit, but you still have to work, okay? You're still a consultant at the end of the day and you still have to work. But the books, I'll say this again, the books that changed my life were Love Does by Bob Goff, The Energy Bus, and Visioneering by Andy Stanley, and Chloe said Beach Money, all right? So if the first part of this training, I wanted to talk about Leadership 101 is literally what I wrote down in my notes because you have to have that mindset and backbone in you in order to be the coach that people look up to.
And before Justin even gets into this, I just want to say, like, leadership isn't a checklist. It's not a checklist, and it's not, I want to just coach so I can promote. It's if that's your mindset, you're in the wrong mindset, and it makes me sad because there are a lot of people that do think that way, and leading is not like I'm going to lead so I can promote. No, you get to promote because they get to promote, right? You rise when they rise, and that is what leadership is. Your life changes because their life changed. It's not about I'm going to coach this month because I want to earn level 3 of the incentive.
No.
If that is your mindset, I'm going to tell you right now that your team will see that and they will not trust you. They will not want to work with you. They will not want to do those things. And so get your mind right, get your PRV right, get your recruiting right, and then you're going to go into reports.
Somebody asked, is that bad that I don't know?
I'll look it up, Justin.
And look up the Energy Bus author because I
just
really
keep
don't know.
going. Okay.
All right, so now one more thing on leadership, and this is going to make the husbands happy. you guys need to get ESPN on a Fire Stick, the ESPN Plus, so you guys can watch the Michael Jordan documentary, and it's called The Last Dance. Michael Jordan's mindset is what my vision is. I want to have this guy's mindset whenever I'm retired.
Same, we vibe. Me and MJ vibe.
As far as on how leadership is. Leadership is, and the thing is too, one more thing.
He is me, literally
The
me.
thing about leadership is this, and this is something that I have to tell Chloe all the time, and it's something that Michael Jordan said, and it resonated with me so well, is the fact that leadership, you're not trying to make friends. And that may sting because Scentsy is the engine where you can meet more people and have friends. But what I'm saying is leadership, you know, there was a part in the series that I play every day. Chloe doesn't notice, but every day I play the same thing. And Michael Jordan just goes on a rant because a reporter asked him how he feels when people don't call him a nice guy.
And this is me. There's a lot of people that say I'm mean or rude or whatever. So when y'all hear what he's about to say, I want you to understand.
It puts tears in my eyes because literally it brought goosebumps to me because I've been called this before. And I'm like the most likable, I don't want to say that, but a lot of people have told me I'm like the most likable person. My buddy Hunter today said that I bring so much energy to a room that I make people want to get up and run. But what I'm saying is this, Michael Jordan, the reporter said, what do you feel like when people say that even after all the accomplishment you have, you're not a nice guy? And Michael Jordan's response was this. He was like, all right, listen, so what if I push people? So what if I made people want to get up and work when they didn't want to? He said, if they didn't elevate to the level that I was at, they needed to get off the court. If they were on my team, but they didn't have the passion that I had, I didn't want them on the court. I didn't want them to be where I was at because they're doing more of a disservice than a service to anybody that was around them. He said, so if I push too hard, it's because that's my passion. He said, and if they were mad, it's because they never won anything before.
Shoot.
And that hit me so well. I was like, man,
so true.
A lot of and look, you love your haters because they are the engine behind a thing. But what I'm saying is this, if people are hating on you for being successful, good. You're being successful, and they just have never been successful before. And that's the ugly truth. You want everybody to be successful as a leader, but at the end of the day, the people that are mad at you for being successful, don't wear that proudly. At the end of the day, and my buddy Hunter said this today, and it hit me even harder. Entrepreneurship and being successful is a lonely lane.
Oh, it's so lonely.
It's lonely. There are nights where you are by yourself. Hunter, my business partner, is somebody that I look up to, and me and him work so well together. It's crazy from a business partnership because so of them live, in badly. But he said this today, entrepreneurship is the most lonely thing you will do. You will lose time with your family. You will lose time doing everything. But at the end of the day, it is the most rewarding and most fulfilling because you change everybody's life that you touch. So I'm saying that to say this, if you are not up for that, if you're not up for the lonely nights, if you're not up for this stuff, it's going to be very hard for you and you're not going to want to do it. And now we need to go into reports.
That's okay. And I love that he said that before reports because a lot of people.
You have to have this before you start worrying about that.
And I was just talking, but I was FaceTiming one of my directors today who's actually one of my mentors and I'm really close with her. And I talked a little bit about this subject of, of how sometimes I can come off to some people that I'm too much. And I'm sorry I'm too much, but that just means you can't handle it, man. And if you think I'm too much, it's just because I'm passionate. And it's because I'm not going to sit here and let you guys sink if you have the capacity to not sink.
Skill versus will.
I'm going to be the one to push you when nobody else will push you. I'm going to be the one to tell you to get out of bed. I'm going to be the one to say, I'm not talking about your drama. I'm here to help you. I'm going to be the one to say, yes, you can. I'm going to be that person because so many people in their lives don't have those people. They have people that want to sit back and be in their pity party and they don't want to change their circumstance. And Felicia Rhodes said it best last night on the training about personalizing your systems. You can't let a speed bump become a stop sign unless you want it. So you have a choice tonight. You have a choice over the next 45 minutes to listen to what Justin's going to say. That works. I know it works because you don't go to a group of from 500 to 7,000 in a matter of 3 years by accident. It happens because of doing the right thing. So open your mind and open up your ability and know that you can do hard things. You can do this, but you have to
The only one stopping you is yourself.
You're the stop sign. The stop sign is you. And so you need to open your mind tonight and get out of your way. And I want you to trust us. So go ahead and start.
Yeah, and look, I'll say this too about leadership. It's all about the one. I tell this to everybody, and I used to have to do this. I used to have to coach my bankers to go into big settings and talk about financial stability and how to create financial habits to people who are working in low-income jobs. But I would say, they would always be like, I felt like I didn't, change anybody's life. I'm like, well, as long as you change one, you did your job. Your job in life is to go after the one. And not to get spiritual or anything on anybody, but that's what we're all called to do, is you just go after the one. And I promise you, if you have that mindset, you share your story, your testimony is the most powerful weapon that you have. Your story and who you really are. Not who you want to be, but who you really are at the time right now.
Not somebody else.
Don't try to be famous. Influence with your story, and you're going to change somebody's life. I don't care if you're 85, 60, however old you are as a consultant, 15. Oh, well, you have to be what, at least 18?
You have to be 18.
Well, 18 to 65, I don't care how old you are. You have a story to tell that can change one person's life. That's going to catapult them. That's going to catapult you. That's going to do everything. So just start focusing on that as a leader. And if you felt like you've failed as a leader in the past, start today. Don't wait next week. Don't wait till Monday. That's something I used to tell myself about eating right. I still haven't ate right. I still eat like crap. Chloe gets mad at me because I still work out and do everything else. But still, just focus on the one and start now. It doesn't matter. If you're behind on anything, just start now. Just start.
I started coaching calls and team meetings with one person as a certified consultant, by the way. So go ahead and put